These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
Elon, is there better areas than the 51?
Of course. What do you think? Please. I did not have meetings with aliens. Yeah. In fact, I think it may have been him or there was some like Pentagon general who said, because people kept on bugging him about aliens and stuff. And he said, listen, if we had any evidence of aliens, if I had an alien, I would drag an alien body or something. I'd show you that alien body, because you know what? If I showed you that alien body, we'd get our budget approved instantly.
When you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
I don't believe you about the aliens.
I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope they're like, well, if they are here, I hope they're nice. They haven't killed us yet, so they must be not that bad. All right, any other questions?
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on this fine and manic evening. It's going to be a manic evening because we've got five of us in the house tonight to talk about Area 51, the fact, and I mean fact, that David Grusch has everything written down on a piece of paper that he's telling us, and he knows all about Area 51. He knows everything there is to know about it, and he knows the people involved, knows his aliens there, and I'm going to keep on using David Grusch in every single one of my thumbnails because I love that face. So if you have a problem with that, you're in the wrong place. But without further ado, Stu, it's been a bit my lover.
It's been a minute. Too many family issues.
I know, mate. I bet
everybody's well now. So
everyone's well. Everyone's well. Speaking of people who are well, Nick still rocking the old channel name. I've actually updated the channel. Sorry, Nick. Updated the Twilight. What's
Cosmic Twilight.
Cosmic Twilight.
I'll do it now. The Cosmic Twilight. Yeah. Thanks for having me back, Ollie. But yeah, thanks for reminding me as well.
No, it's nice poster, mate.
Yes.
Nice fake UFO.
Yeah, that's disclosure right there, guys. I'm going to put the word proof with an arrow pointing to it.
We don't need proof. We don't need proof. We're here for fun. Speaking of fun, the boys are here from Terrestrial Material. How you doing, lads? Stephen and Ice Cream.
Hey, we're doing good, everybody? Buddy. Thanks for having us back.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so just before we get started on David Grusch knowing everybody that works at Area 51 by name, the family, he knows the aliens' names, he knows which hangar the UFO is kept in. A little bit about you two. So you two have a brand new channel that has launched that I have put in the description. It is actually the first link, and my two lovers here are the links below that. But I've put you two first because this is kind of your show tonight. This is your place to kind of like get these people over to your den because you've just started out and you've got a lot to say about the field. So what made you two decide to become the next grifters?
I mean, isn't it obvious? The girls, right?
There's loads, isn't there?
Lining up.
Yeah, you get the money, you get the women. No, I mean, Ollie, guys, I've looked into this stuff since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up. If I couldn't sleep at night, I would go into my dad's room and he would turn on Art Bell at 2, 3 in the morning. And, West of the Rockies calling in, and we would listen to ghosts and aliens and everything. Didn't really help me sleep, scared the crap out of me most of the time, but I loved it, man. So I took a long time of looking into it and trying to learn more, like most people do when they get involved, but took a big break. And then around 2013, 2014, just started really dipping into YouTube and starting to see what everyone was doing again.
And Steven is your adopted son?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't you tell, dude, the features, dude? That's why he looks so hot.
I'm bringing him into the fold of the aliens here. We've inducted him.
Yeah, I've had my own personal research and beliefs and stuff. And then what's crazy enough is he and I hit it off once he met my sister and everything. And then I kind of fell off. I did a bunch of other things, my own personal life, research stuff, music and stuff. And then he kind of brought me back into it. So it's really cool to get back into it, especially with him of all people, because honestly, I wouldn't want to do it really with anybody else as much as him. So,
oh, you're breaking my heart.
my brother-in-law's a flat earther.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we get on like a house on fire as well. It's crazy. It's like you do realize that it's impossible that there's aliens like you think. I says, no, mate, they've probably got a flat earth as well that they fly over to. You ever thought of it like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, the biggest drive at this point with the channel was just to kind of get my thoughts out. I mean, how many years that I have yelled at the radio or yelled at, whatever channel I was watching and saying, no, it's this, or this is my opinion on it. And I said, it's time to be there, and really get my thoughts out there. Because the topic, as you can tell, since 2017, especially, it's exploded. I mean, there's shows all over the place now at this point. So if you were ever going to make any kind of move and really get your thoughts out there and get them heard, probably not a bad time to do that,
Yeah, and I think as soon as the Phenomenon came out, that documentary, that's kind of what scooped me back into it. So
that's
James Fox.
Yeah, James Fox. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great documentary. The last one I struggled with a little bit, only because there was a lot of subtitles.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and this I don't know what to make of that story either. I think with the Brazil,
Virginia, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool story. Don't get me wrong; it's a really cool story. But it's like, how do we know they're telling the truth there?
We always hit that dead end street every time with every story. It's like they're all great. The aliens got the red eyes and they rushed into the hospital. It's all wonderful, but just nobody had the camera, or the camera's gone. We always run into that same issue.
Thank you, Lisa, for the super sticker, my lovely, and your dog is absolutely wonderful. My grandma had one of those dogs. Is it a King's Charles? Is it a Spaniel? I think it's a Spaniel. Don't super chat to say it's a Spaniel, but it looks like a Spaniel. But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The problem that people have with James Fox, I think, is they seem to think that he's just in this for the money, and I'm just thinking to myself, can no one tell that guy's got a genuine passion for UFOs?
No, he does.
So what is in it for the money? If he's making money off his passion, what is wrong with that? I don't get that.
I think it's all about how you go about it, right? I remember faintly when he was starting to get the whole campaign going for that Virginia documentary, where he just really hinted and kind of played with it. He had the footage, and that he kind of promoted it like it was going to be there. We're gonna kind of get it in there. And I just was like, man, you don't have that footage. Why are you marketing it like that?
We got stories, didn't we? That's all we got.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a cool story, a really cool story. I do wish that Do you know what, Stu? I wish you'd have used an AI bot. If we didn't want to employ anybody to like kind of like translate it, because was it just me, or was it kind of like that it did need someone to narrate it rather than
it
subtitles?
did.
And am I just saying that as a dyslexic man that doesn't like?
No,
reading?
it did need some kind of narration, and even just in part to kind of keep the story flowing. I
think that film would have probably been at least like 30 times better if it had narration.
Yeah, I think given the category too.
Usually with his films, he does have a narrator, and he must have. I don't know actually. He may have. He usually has Peter Coyote, who was like an ET back in the day.
Yes,
that's his go-to guy normally, and I'm not sure why. I don't even know if he did have him at the beginning of it or not. But there wasn't like narration right the way through. But usually in his documentaries, he does have some kind of narration.
Yeah, the only thing that I could figure of why he didn't do that was maybe he wanted to, just in an artistic way, have you hear the language and really put you in that scene, hearing the language instead of
feel whether they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted you to hear tones. He wanted you to see faces, or maybe not see faces as well, but he wanted you to get that feeling. Yeah.
Ice cream. So you did get that. I will say that it didn't seem, because my wife, she's from Ecuador, but like the language, Brazilian language, it's different, but there's some bits that are very similar to that kind of Spanish, and she said it didn't seem acted. You know, they seemed genuine words from people. It's a Japanese chin or Japanese spaniel. Wow, I didn't know that was such a thing. I've heard of a chinchilla. A chinchilla's not a dog, is it?
No, it's definitely not.
Mousy rat type thing, is it?
Yeah.
It looks
similar to a dog, though. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, though. It does look a little bit like a chinchilla, though. A little bit. Gorgeous, though. Don't take your super chat back. I'm not insulting it. I love that dog. I love dogs in general. I've got 2 cats, the little bastards.
Aren't they always?
Yeah, you'll hear mine about 11 o'clock, 11:30.
So, yeah. It's right on cue, Stu, that one.
Yeah, she's like clockwork.
I'll be honest with you. So the title tonight, it's a little bit clickbaity. I wanted to piss a few people off with using Grusch again in the title. But in all honesty, he kind of implies that he does know about Area 51. And he does know stories from Area 51 from higher ups that he's never mentioned, but he will talk about them in a skiff. Without even, forget the Grusch thing, we can bring that into it, but do you guys think, now I know pardon, S4, okay? It's like S4, not Area 51. Everybody says that's where it is, S4, that's where it went down. But do you think the whole story with Area 51, we're going to get something? Because it feels like, we've said this for a while on this show, that it feels like something's building, like there's some sort of like very slow but sure disclosure coming. And I'm wondering if the biggest thing that they could disclose with would be Area 51 right now, because even if you're not in this field, you will have heard that name.
I don't think we'll get jack about Area 51 because for the simple reason it's being used far too frequently for testing 6th generation drones and fighters, because that's them. They're working on, the next generation of fighters are going to be without pilots, or if they do still have pilots, they're going to have maybe half a dozen drones which are coordinated by the main jet. That's what they're testing just now. I don't think, if Area 51 ever did have UFO related stuff, or creatures, anything like that. I think it was long since moved elsewhere. Like way back, like after Bob Lazar, basically. I think they've relocated everything.
So what I'm saying is, do you think that we may get a snippet of history coming back from maybe a whistleblower? Or maybe something a little bit more where they will release some documents. Will get released from Area 51.
Possibly, like historically related.
I don't mean now. I don't mean are we going to disclose now and say this stuff's still there? There is, they've got ET, they've got the flight of the Navigator craft.
Yeah, Area 51's more active than it's ever been. They've been extending it quite extensively over the past sort of decade or so, and I don't think we'll see anything of the latest stuff. But yeah, historically, if there was potentially something there, then I think we could get somebody whistle blowing on that now, potentially. But I mean, the only person that's famous for Area 51 is Bob Lazar, and obviously his thing's all about S4. And as far as I'm concerned, that part of his story to this day is still bullshit. I don't believe for a minute there was an S4 with 9 hangars or anything like that at all.
Are you saying, Ali, and correct me if I'm wrong, are you thinking that if the stuff was moved from Area 51, from S4, do you think they would just take things back and just say, hey, here it is, and act like it was still there, just to kind of like...
No, what I'm saying is that we will either get some documents released that would prove us right all along, from Area 51, whether we get like the real like pictures of the wreckage, maybe even real pictures of a body, a non-human, what's it Grusch calls it, a non-human
intelligence.
Yeah. Or because he did say naturally when you get crashes you get bodies. I'm wondering if that's something that, if the way this is going to play out, if we're going to go down that real big conspiracy route and think they actually do want to disclose, it got me thinking over the last like few months now, even I think when Grusch first did this, 2 months ago now.
It's a little over 3 now. A little over 3.
Yeah. Because
Cambians count. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the counter going.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my god, that Linda Moulton Howe. Has anybody seen that Linda Moulton Howe thing?
I gotta watch it. Yeah, I still gotta watch it.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. Yeah, it's very funny. What I'm saying is, if they wanted to do it, if we were going to do the whole conspiracy thing, if they want your family that are not into UFOs to believe in this, the only thing that that will ring bells with my dad is Area 51. So I'm thinking if they want to do it to the public, that's the way to disclose would be Area 51.
I think there's nothing in Area 51. I'm in agreement with you, Stu. I think whatever technology is there is most likely spy planes, stuff like that. Even technology that we still don't know of. But I think Area 51 has got such a stigma behind the word. It's a bit like Illuminati and stuff like that, Could you remember the breaking attempt about 10 years ago?
2019.
Yeah, right? 2019. It was 2019, was it? Yeah.
Are you on about raid area? Are you on about...
social media.
Yeah.
People were outside the gates and everything.
Yeah. And it was just it made such a mockery. And what ended up happening was just a guy doing a stupid bloody run, and that was it. It was so. I think there's so many other places around the world that we.
I think you're on about a different breaking attempt. Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, but the raid Area 51 was the big public thing. I know what you're talking about, Nick. Yeah.
So it was almost like sort of a mockery out of it and not really taking it seriously. You know, we're going to go find these extraterrestrials. I mean, it was just a laughing stock, really. But I'm in agreement with you, Stu. I don't think any alien technology is there. I don't believe there is an S4 at all. I think there's so many other places around the world. There's stuff in the ocean that we don't know about, underground bases. I mean, do you know about Phil Schneider? You guys heard about Phil Schneider before?
Big
Fascinating
Phil,
guy. Dulce, the Dulce Wars and all that. So I think there's probably more hidden technology somewhere else. My own personal opinion. I mean, there wasn't Area 51 originally just for testing spy planes. I mean, wasn't the U2 tested there?
I think so, yeah.
It was Skunk Works, basically, for the people that kind of started it out, and it was the U2 spy plane. And then the SR-71 or Oxcart, which is the CIA's name for their version of it, was developed out there. And then the F-117. I mean, there's been loads of stuff. The MQ-9, the Reaper drone, all these kind of things, they were all tested out at Area 51 at some point or another. And they've definitely got like 6th gen stuff they're testing out there just now, which will probably not see the light of day for the next decade, but it is getting tested at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Ali, they might have done something out at Area 51 with some of this tech, maybe down crashes. But for me, if there was anything there, I agree with them. I think they moved it. But I think like the big thing we got to remember, why do we even know about Area 51? It's mainly just from Lazar. I mean, Lazar made it popular. Most of that wreckage that came from that happened in Roswell, that got moved to Wright-Patt anyway. So I think Wright-Patterson is the blue room there. That's really where we could get some very interesting documents and maybe material at that point. Because, I mean, Wright-Patt was good because they had Battelle right there, also in Ohio, to study the materials. I know Jeremy or Rise talks a lot about Battelle and what happened with all that. So I think, I would look more for Wright-Patterson to get some of that out, you know?
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil. Phil
Phil
will have a beer soon. I know Phil. He's a good man. We are very good friends. Even more so now. He's just bought me a beer. I appreciate it. YouTube takes 40% of that, Phil, by the way. But I appreciate it, my lad.
Thank you, Phil.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I get what you boys are saying, but I grew up believing in Area 51. This is the whole thing that got me started. Well, my dad got me started doing this, but the stories that we have had for years about Area 51 is what got me kind of like my nipples on edge when it came to this subject. Now, I will say, Nick, when I had you on the first time, one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on was your whole investigation in Nazi flying saucers. Because, well, Area 51, I know the war was over, but it wasn't far after the war when we got the US military saying that they have a crashed flying saucer. The next day, they totally redacted all that information and said it was a weather balloon. So I've said for quite some time now, I think what crashed there may have been a German UFO or German craft of some kind. And we mentioned on the show I've forgotten the name of the plane. What's the name of it?
The Horton.
The Horton.
Is it the Horton?
Flying Wing.
Flying Wing.
Yeah,
That's it.
Flying Wing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember how much because we kind of we flip-flopped all over the place when it came to flip-flop. I am a flip-flop. Yes, Rich.
Oh no.
I do flip-flop. He's right. But we spoke about that briefly. Do you think there's there's possible evidence? Do you think there's any evidence to that's what could have crashed there?
I'm 50-50, man. I'm like you, Ollie. I'm a flip-flopper. I've flip-flopped on a lot of things. And going back into research as the Nazi UFO stuff, I've managed to buy more books And I've sort of changed my mind on a few things. Yes, there we go. Might as well put my face on it. Is a possibility. I don't think it was a flying saucer.
Just give me an idea for some merch there. Sorry, go on, carry on. Do you reckon I could put down those skates on a flip flop and get away with it?
I tell you what, I'm doing a video about Stephen Greer about the Disclosure Project, the second one that he did, and he mentioned briefly that some sort of German disc was taken over from Germany at the end of the war, and he describes a rotative anti-gravity system. Now, going back to the episode that I did with you, Ollie, the first one, talking about Nazi flying saucers, the only thing anti-gravity that the Germans were making was the Bell project, the Die Glocke. That's what it was. When it comes to the Haunebu flying saucers, remember the Haunebu flying saucer with the gun turret underneath it?
Yes.
And we were saying that that's fake. However, I bought a book, and it shows the same craft in America in 1950s. And you can see two photographs. It's over this guy's house in Ohio, I think. And this is like 1955. And you can clearly see a bloody gun turret underneath this flying saucer. And this looks a genuine photograph. Like, this isn't fake at all. I'm actually doing a video on it. So, a possibility some sort of technology was brought over. I'm not saying it's flying saucer related. It might be. I don't know. But I don't know about Roswell, mate. I'm going whether or not it was a weather balloon, it was something German, it was an actual extraterrestrial craft. I don't know. It's too confusing for me. But yeah, documentations in terms of German technology crashed at Roswell is not a lot, or hardly anything.
I mean, Ali, Tom DeLonge would agree with you. I mean, he thinks it was German. He mentioned that a long time ago.
Has he mentioned that?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he has actually on Kurt's podcast.
Maybe I stole it off Tom DeLonge. I don't know.
What I'm going to try and do, I'll get one of my books. I'll take a photograph. I'm going to try and pull it up on here. But this describes what crashed
Nick, we
at
can
Roswell.
just bring in big. Just hold the book out, old school.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
That way people know it's not fake.
Absolutely.
That's all right. Well, this document is in Joseph P. Farrell. Have you guys heard of Joseph P. Farrell at all? Very knowledgeable guy when it comes to World War II technology, and he did a lot of research into the Bell project. And he wrote a book called Roswell and the Reich, and he is the one that's coming forward saying that whatever crashed at Roswell was German. And he got this document from, I'll grab it up in a minute, but it shows you the exact date of what crashed at Roswell. And it's saying that we need these German scientists to analyze what crashed because it's definitely German. I'll try and grab the document out in a minute. 2 seconds,
sure.
boys.
After watching like one short documentary with I think it was American Alchemy that Matt had me watch, and I was interested. They talked about a lot of like Nazi scientists that the U.S. ended up bringing over to do research and stuff. And I wonder if maybe that had something to do with that also.
Yeah, it was Operation Paperclip. They literally brought over about 10 to roughly just under 2,000 scientists in total, all different areas of sciences.
Yeah, I can't think of anything like.
Yeah, one of those took you guys to the moon.
Yeah, one of them, Braun.
Boy, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother 5 shows.
I do. I'm not going to use the word floppy, but I do go back and forth with Roswell a lot. But I can't help think there is something more to this than because it seems all of a sudden over the last few years we've all decided, yeah, it was a load of shit. And I'm wondering if that's by design. Is that what we're supposed to do? Is everything that's led up to this moment right now not an alien at it? Yeah, actually, no. Right on here, yeah. Is everything that's led up to this moment been by design, and we are supposed to forget about Roswell and supposed to think, yeah, because we used to laugh about that. We used to laugh about the whole weather balloon thing, swamp gas, weather balloon, blah blah blah. But now we're ready to say it was bullshit.
Well, we got documents coming out next year through Project Blue Book, because we talked about it a couple of episodes ago, didn't we? So it might reveal something about Roswell. But like I said on the program, it was the Blue Book was just there to sort of dismantle and poo-poo any sort of UFOs, saying it was swamp gas, weather balloons, and stuff like that. So I don't think any good evidence is going to come forth with this documents coming out. I mean, there's thousands of documents, but it's going to really prove nothing at the end of the day. But who knows? We'll see.
I mean, for me, Ali, I'm skeptic of like the recent movement, not the claims of like back engineered crafts or like life forms being here. I agree with you. I think Roswell was legitimate. And the story switch is what really holds me to it the most. I mean, there's obviously just tons of testimony. I mean, it's everyone's lying. And then I found it weird that they switched to the story from the crash saucer to a weather balloon. And that's supposed to like cover up Mogul. If Mogul was a secret project, why would they change the story to something that would give away Mogul? That always seemed weird to me too. It seems like if you wanted to cover up Mogul, you'd have said it was like some other kind of plane or something. I don't know. The story switch just is too weird to me. I don't know why else you'd do that.
It's almost like to split people's decisions and opinions in the matter of it, which is kind of weird. But
what do you think, Stu?
I think something happened. Definitely. So there's too many witnesses, as you say. So something definitely happened. I know Roswell became more popular courtesy of the X-Files TV series, in the same way that Area 51 became popular in the mid-90s because of Independence Day, the movie. So popular culture kind of drives things forward. It's always, I must admit, I pay closer attention to what Spielberg did back in the 70s and 80s now, because I think he was given way more information and way more background stuff than we actually realize, which helped, with Close Encounters and with E.T. and stuff like that. So there's always a grain of truth in what's put out in the TV shows and movies and books and graphic novels and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Roswell, I kind of flip-flop with it as well. It does kind of piss me off as well that everybody goes back to Roswell as like the starting point of, aliens and UFOs and things like that, when there's quite clearly evidence of things happening way before then. Obviously, now we've got Grusch going on about a UFO that was
1933.
Yeah, 31 was it not? 31?
1933. 33 because it's my number.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, you got a thing about 33.
I have got a thing about 33, yeah.
And I live at number 33. But hey.
And Jolly really picked that number. She got that from you,
huh? But no,
and I remember that. I was like, "What the?" And then like I can't remember who said, but somebody said there's somebody next to her looking up stuff, which was insane how fast she got that information. So that there, right there with Angelique, okay. Grifting aside, how fast was that? Who she got working with her to do that quick?
I really didn't mean to tangent us, but yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We go on tangents on this show. But right there, when you're talking about conspiracies, forget that she's part of some big lie about going into an alien tunnel and, all that jazz. How quickly did she answer that question? It took, I would say, when I said, "What's my number?" If you know stuff, what's my number? And it was, is it 33?
It was pretty quick, yeah.
It was probably about that quick.
No, she was quite quick with it. I'll give her that.
But I do think she looked at somebody that gave her the answer. Because you could see her looking around in that conversation on that video.
And all it takes is a hand signal, somebody going, 3-3.
So who's running? Who's doing this? Because she's now making a living off this on, is it Gaia? She on Gaia?
Yeah, she's got a contract with Gaia.
I didn't know they picked her up and did that. That's wild, yeah.
I didn't know how much. Gaia is a very rich organization.
Yeah,
they've got a lot of money behind them.
They funded that whole Mexico situation too. A bunch of that, right?
Oh, really?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the lady on Third Phase? They interviewed somebody from Gaia the other day, and they were speaking about the Mexican alien thing. Which I'll be honest with you, as much as and I said this on last week's show, I think it's fake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting stuff with that though.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell of a lot. Like it's so weird. Like these are now they say that these are Jaime took replicas from the real things. And it's like this story is just fantastic. I think I do like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't believe it for a second personally. A lot of my friends believe it.
Yeah, I think it definitely piqued a lot of people's interest, like just in the blink of an eye, which is kind of crazy.
I think if these people knew who Hani Musan really is and the hoaxes that comes with it, I mean, I've known Hani Musan since I was a kid, since the 90s. I mean, me and my dad were like big fans, and you start to realize, well, oh, hang on a minute, you're clearly faking stuff. But if people knew what he was doing, they would start probably change their perceptions about it, thinking, okay, well, this guy's got a backtrack record of clearly hoaxing stuff. But for the normal people, I mean, I showed my girlfriend it, and she just laughed. It's like, what the hell is that? I mean, that is just not good enough, I want to see a glossy alien,
My problem with those two paper mache aliens, or whatever the hell they are, is the fact
that's exactly what I said.
It's the fact they've got noses.
They look a little bit mashy, don't they?
Yeah.
They've got noses though. Yeah. If you were actually dealing with something that was like mummified in that way, they wouldn't have a nose. The nose would be gone. It would just be a hole in the face. Because all you've got.
Was it say they've been mummified? Like they use the word diorite?
Don't know.
I mean, I thought that was something in No Man's Sky, but
I don't know which channel it was. I think it was Unidentified S4 or something. But he's been putting memes about these things up all week, and they've been hilarious. So they have taken the piss out of Musan.
Yeah, I just figure like all the facial features are just too perfect. Like it seemed like that stuff would break off or chip over time, or when they got it out of there, they would have damaged it somehow. It's all especially the faces. They're just too together,
The interesting thing though with that is that, and it is, if you're not saying this is on track with Area 51, then you're fucking mad, because it's aliens. Area 51 had bigger aliens, allegedly, but
the J-Rod.
Yeah. the oh my, you big lad. He's just walked in the room. He just bashed the door open with his paw. People's beliefs have changed with this Jaime Musan alien, the little alien mummies, because I know I was watching Alien Girl the other day. I think it was yesterday, and she put a poll up, and I put a poll up last week, and the poll was starting to, like, unless we have different subscribers, I don't know, but I mean, I genuinely think that people are starting to change their mind and starting to think that this thing could possibly be real, because we're getting other information now. But because it's like that Elon flying car, that saying that he said, it's real because it looks so fake. The reason why we say it's fake is, okay, if you took Jaime out of the situation, does it have more leverage?
For sure.
So is that the problem?
It's probably the biggest problem.
What it looks like, or is the problem the fact that they pick them up like a piece of a brick and then slam it down?
Yeah, I don't know.
Even though if Jaime wasn't in it, I honestly, Ollie, I think it still looks too fake, too paper mache. That's my opinion, honestly.
You watch a lot of videos now too. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, like, it's weird how, like, all of a sudden, like, that hearing happened, and then you see a bunch of this stuff, like, on Facebook now of, like, these scientists handling these things, and they're just, like, manhandling it. But, like, when you watch the hearing in Mexico, there's so much, like, crumbles and everything in those boxes and stuff to make them look like they're super fragile. But meanwhile, since that hearing, from here on out forward, any other video you see about those paper mache aliens, like, they look much more sturdier than what they are, which is super weird to me. And then also, like, on our show when Matt and I were talking, like, what's the Steven Spielberg movie, The Encounter of, like, the third kind, I think it was, or fourth kind?
Yeah, Close Encounters,
Dude, it looks exactly the same. It's like, it's just,
and E.T.
It's too far driven forward to make it look believable to the point.
It looks like E.T. stretched.
Yeah, like
it
very stretched.
It even reminds me of and Lee, I wish he was on for this, but Lee has a thing with E.T. like, that scene where he's on the floor where he's Elliot, I'm dying or whatever. Yeah, he says that E.T. Them salamis, them I know
the ones.
Them, is it Italian?
That's what it looks like.
Salami. It looks just like that, and E.T. kind of looks the same as that, as one of those, and those things look very much like that. But I just look at it and thinking, it looks that terrible that maybe Jaime's the right guy to pick, because even if he gives them a real alien, no fucker's gonna believe him. Look what he's been involved in the past. Nobody's gonna believe him. It doesn't matter. And look at how ridiculous these things look.
Yeah.
But look how ridiculous, and it sounds bad, this, but the Pompeii bodies.
Yeah.
They look terrible. If you looked at that and you said, that's a real human in there, you go, fuck off. You made that a paper mache.
Yeah, for me though, Ollie, too, the other part of it is that Ryan Graves came out and apologized so fast. Yes. I would imagine no matter what you believe about him, he's got to have some contact that, maybe has something behind the scenes that would have maybe good information for him. They were a little bit late probably to the party on telling him, but, for him to just jump out there that quick, I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's whole center that he's trying to put together. I mean, his whole movement that he's doing is based on, him kind of looking like he knows what he's doing, or at least having a good reputation. And that's it's a real mark for him.
I'm just trying to find, there was Corbell. I think Corbell addressed it the other day. Yes, he did.
Was this on Weaponized? Yeah.
This was on, I think it was on Twitter. It's
right.
I'm struggling with, like, I got a new phone today, the 15 Pro, and so it's nice. But I've lost everything. I've lost Twitter. I've lost Facebook.
I hate that.
I didn't do the transfer right, and I don't have anything logged in on here. So I'm just gonna see if I can find it. You guys just carry on, because Corbell did address the alien mummy thing.
That's cool. Going back to the alien mummy thing, if you look at them, they're in perfectly straight. You know, they're not all disoriented. They're untwisted. They're just completely straight, and I just find it very hard to believe. I mean, if you look at going back to the Pompeii bodies, you know, they're all in various positions. You know,
Yeah.
It's yeah. Every time I see it, I just laugh. I just think, oh, mashed potatoes, paper mache. I like naming things that looks like it.
It definitely looks better though than the original one that he brought out with the crossed arms and the long fingers. These look. It's
Yeah.
like
So look, I'm just gonna kind of speak.
upgraded it. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, no, carry on.
No,
I'll
I
play
was
this
just
in a
going to say
minute.
that it looks like whoever worked on the first ones might have even worked on these new ones, and it looks like a definite upgrade. Like, you know, they took a look at the old ones and said, this is where this might be maybe not look as good, or they're more believable than the last one, I guess, in a long way to put it. Yeah.
Did you see the website that I brought up last week? That like halfway through the show we had a UFO chick on, and she brought up I forgot his name. I did a retweet of it, but the website, there's like loads more mummies on there.
Yeah, the different heads. Yeah.
Like the head, the actual head. The head looks insane. The head looks insanely detailed. The chopped off head.
Yeah.
That actually looks pretty cool. But like the MRIs look amazing, but then like we were saying on the show, like, how do we know that that's not some like clever computer effects? But if you've seen the pictures this week of Jaime putting that thing inside the MRI, do you know how much an MRI costs?
A lot.
2.5 million.
No, no, that's for the machine, I think. But I don't know if Jaime went that far, Stu. Didn't buy the whole, but he might. But like, it's like, I'm just gonna. He must have paid
$2,000.
for it, a few grand to pay to
easy.
do. Is it worth it? Yeah, probably is worth it actually to get them to do that. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to play this. And then we'll get back onto 51.
So look, I'm just going to kind of speak openly about this because it's just such bullshit in my mind. And it's sad to me. What we're talking about is everybody's seen. So if you're not really into UFOs and you're listening to this, you're going to see all over, even AP News, these images of what look like little mummies that look like ET. Somebody made this hilarious meme of somebody cutting one open and it's cake inside. But, look, here's the deal. What the claim was, we've got these ET bodies and we're displaying them at this, hearing we're having in Mexico that is kind of supposed to kind of work off of the U.S. hearings. Even Ryan Graves went down there to speak about, what he's doing. Little, I think, did he know that they were going to bust out these, I call them alien cakes, these fake little alien bodies. So I feel bad for him if he was kind of duped into that. But I'm sure what he did was he talked about what he's doing and what his work, which is really important in comparison. But what happened was that a journalist in Mexico brings out these, what they call like corpses of aliens that were found in Peru. And the problem is I think I first heard about this like 7 years ago, and it was like Gaiam TV or something. And they were like trying to enroll everybody in these things. And it was so preposterous to begin with, just if you look at the basic information. So unfortunately, theatrically, they open these things and they show these, what I imagine are probably cakes. Yeah.
What does that look like?
I mean, he definitely acted like he didn't know the name was Gaia. That was funny. He said the name wrong on purpose, I think, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
What's that thing what's that word that we use when somebody's something's happened and somebody comes on and then why's that word gone straight out of my head? This happens all the time after 1.5 cans. What is it? When somebody goes and they like the goalkeeper's like, fuck, I need to don't matter, fuck it. Anyway, he's doing that. It looks like he's doing that. Somebody in the chat, what's he doing? I forgot the name of it. It does look like that though. The way deflecting, yes. And this is not me saying the real, but it looks like he's he's like, oh, what's the fucking word for it? Jesus Christ! When somebody makes a mess of something and then they go and
he's like the cleanup crew for the problem.
Not backtrack. No, we're close. We're close. Forget Area 51 for a bit. Forget everything. We need to get this word right. We need to get this word.
John Lies has put jumping on the bandwagon, gaslighting.
No,
I don't think it's rimming.
Right.
Well, close.
Hey, my mic.
Let's try, John.
Better. It's on there. My wife.
Gatekeeping?
I think it's plasticine. Shit.
Yep. Phil says gatekeeping.
No, not gatekeeping.
Like redact.
I'm lost. I don't know what.
This is
You mean like he's trying to save the day on it, right? Like try to get in front of it, get out in
Save
front
face.
of it.
No.
Save face.
No. The word of when somebody goes, God, it's gonna kill me.
Right, for the rest of the weekend, for sure.
Let's carry on with the show. Exactly, Paul. Thank you. Thank you,
Belen.
Belen. That's it.
There we go.
It's oh God. Let's carry on with the show. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Apologize.
It'll come to you. You know it will.
It will come to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when when a company really fucks up with something, and then they go on the next day, and they
Damage
say,
control.
Motherfucker, yes.
Yeah.
Go subscribe to Terrestrial Material. Go subscribe right now.
That's gonna be my next one
All
too.
that for damage
We
control.
pull each other's thoughts out of each other's heads.
All
bro.
11,000 you unsubscribe from this channel. Go over to Terrestrial Material. He's the shing ding. Yeah, damage. That seemed like damage control.
I agree with you. Yeah.
In a
definitely
weird
did.
way. Why?
It was very subtle damage control.
Okay. Just once more with the car bell. Once more. Then I promise we'll move swiftly on. But look at the way, and I love Carbell, and Lee is getting a post of Carbell on his wall. No word of a lie. I do like him. I
He's entertaining.
he's entertaining.
Yeah, he's a good talker. Yeah.
I don't bat that way. He's a handsome man. Like he's an entertainer in this business, which I forget the whole grift thing that people say. I'm in this because I like to come home from work and have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't there, it wouldn't be as fun. so, but this looks a little bit. What was the word you used again?
Damage control.
Damage control.
It looks a bit damagey controlly.
Speak openly about this because it's just such bullshit in my mind, and it's sad to me. What we're talking about is everybody's seen. So if you're not really into UFOs and you're listening to this, you're going to see all over, even AP News, these images of what look like little mummies that look like ET. Somebody made this hilarious meme of somebody cutting one open and it's cake inside. But, look, here's the deal. What the claim was, we've got these ET bodies and we're displaying them at this, hearing we're having in Mexico that is kind of supposed to kind of work off of the U.S. hearings. Even Ryan Graves went down there to speak about, what he's doing. Little, I think, did he know that they were going to bust out these, I call them alien cakes, these fake little alien bodies.
Right there. That
He's belittling.
I think that bit is the damage control, the Ryan Graves bit.
Yeah, he's belittling like what they were doing.
Yeah.
He's definitely like playing it down and like.
Yeah, I mean, I think he knows though, guys. I think he knows that he needs to, well, he really wants to get out in front of it because he knows he has to talk about it. So he wants to talk about it, downplay it, and then push it away as quick as he can and move on because it just, he knows how much stigma it could throw right back on top at that point, So it's something where he wants to get out in front of. But I think he's popular. He is. But I don't know if he even needs to do that. I don't know if his name and what he says would even reach far enough to actually matter, though. With it, like his damage control would even affect it. I mean, you still see people. You can talk to people around you that have seen that. They've never heard of Corbell, and they just laugh at it. And yeah, back to bullshit aliens again. And so the stigma just continues. I don't know.
Chris, by the way, you are wrong there, my friend. Corbell has not said that.
He has.
Absolute lies. This is what he said.
Now, here's the deal. One, the UFO phenomenon is not real. I was... My brain. The UFO phenomenon has been here a long time.
Yes.
Right?
Just had to do that. I'll let you off. It's pretty much spot on that. It seems like damage control. It does seem like damage control for that. Absolutely. Like, I don't see why he had any need to do that. He could have just spoke about that on Weaponized and hit both him and George could have done a back and forth like we're doing on here and spoke about that. But instead,
especially with George, because George has got history with Jaime Maussan.
Yes, he has.
They've done stuff together over the years. And then when Maussan started to fake stuff, I think George distanced himself. But the problem Maussan had was he's an extremely popular journalist and TV presenter in Mexico. And they did a show, I think, that was on weekly, and that was the problem. They had just nowhere near enough material to fill out a weekly show that was almost running all year round. So I think it just got to the point where probably some producer down the line said, listen, we're going to have to fake it. Because they were making big bucks. Yeah, they're making too many big bucks with the advertising and stuff. And I think that's what he got caught up in. Because he's done stuff with like the UAPs or UFOs going in and out of the volcanoes in Mexico, and that stuff's interesting. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
You know, I mean, because the thing is, that's pretty genuine because it's like webcams that they've placed around this volcano because it happens to erupt on a regular basis, so they keep an eye on it. And the footage they've been capturing from that looks really legit. And Maussan's the one that's been sort of pushing that forward. So for every fake thing that he's maybe done, he's probably done about 10 genuine things. The problem is we don't remember the genuine things. We just remember when he fakes things and screws it up. Cries wolf.
I should put a webcam on my wife when she erupts. Fucking hell, I definitely would go viral then.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it just seems a little bit unnecessary to even have to like try and do damage control like Corbell did in that kind of scenario. Just, I mean, for one, it was a hearing in Mexico, right? I mean, there's so many people that might be interested in this topic and everything, but they're not going to go out of their way to even know that even there was a hearing in Mexico. And then for whatever did spread here to the US and everything, like he said, all you see are just memes about stuff like that. So for people that aren't interested or don't really follow this topic and see that first instance of like the cake, you know, mummies and stuff like that, like all of us talked about, like, yeah, it just seems like paper mache aliens and everything. Like, it just seems weird to even like go forth and make a video and a statement like that in that damage control type of way. Like, it's just
it does
strange.
seem that like that, doesn't it, Stephen? Like, it is a bit damage. It's damage control.
It does.
That's
it
the
just
way
seems
that came across.
Yeah.
I think the best way to have handled that would be for Ryan Graves to come back and went, fucking hell, I did not expect that. Like, with a bit of humor, you know.
Yeah.
That would have probably been the best way to handle it than like.
Yeah, and like Stu said too, like there's far better evidence of stuff like that, especially the volcano things. That's like for people again that don't follow any like phenomena or anything like that see something like that, they're not gonna, their first reaction is not gonna be like, oh, what the hell is this? You know, they're gonna be like, oh wow, that's actually like kind of crazy. But for something like this from the Mexico hearings and stuff, just everybody's just like, pretty sus. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's pretty resounding. Yeah, it's very few people I've heard talk about. I know you had Conundrum on here. He was saying that he believed it.
Conundrum is like is well on like is well on that train. You know, I love that man. He's a
nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. I see his way of thinking though. I because he's kind of like, some might call it gullible, and what I will say is he's he's had a thought of how this will happen, and he believes that's the way it's going to happen. And he's going against the grain because that's what everybody is. Because everybody's saying it's fake. I get why you would go against the grain on that. Now, I think that's an interesting way to look at it. It looks fucking crazy. Everybody's saying it's crazy. The media, most of them are saying it's crazy. The people in ufology that are the big guys that are in flashing lights on every single news channel when it comes to ufology are saying it's fake. So therefore, maybe it's fucking real. I get that way of thinking. I think that is very interesting.
But they're too identical. They're too neatly laid out. It's as if they've been taken off the same mold, and then it's just the rough cast edge that's kind of.
Did you see the website though that we showed last week?
I'll be honest, I didn't catch just with everything that was going on.
They've got loads of those little bastards.
Right.
Yes.
I've seen ones from Peru before. I think that's where these ones were from, but they were different. And I've seen ones that were from Mongolia.
So what they're saying Jaime has are replicas.
Right.
Which is like...
That wouldn't surprise me.
So the guy stole replicas.
Well, I feel like I've seen these exact same things before.
You have about
a long time ago.
Yeah, 2016. They've been out ages.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
something similar was on Ancient Aliens.
Maybe that's where I specifically remember it too. I think because as soon as I seen like all the snippets of like the hearings in Mexico and everything, I was like, dude, I swear I've seen this before, like a while ago. Like it's like the exact same thing. And then for you to come out forward and say like, oh, well, this is it. This is proof of it. It's like, well, but is it though? Like it's kind of sketchy. Like,
so he's saying that these are replicas. The ones he's shown in the hearings is replicas, right?
That's what people are saying now. Yeah, people are saying that some of the ones that he showed are possibly replicas. That's one of the rumors. That those aren't the real ones. Those are the replicas.
Right, gotcha. So Jaime's not saying specifically that these.
Jaime's not saying that they're replicas. No.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I don't think the mummy story is going to stop for a bit. I think that's going to last more than 90 days. I think Grusch, Stephen, put a little, yeah, that's a good idea. Steve, if you're watching this, Campion, bang a little, what's he done? He's banged a little, what do they call them things? A timer?
Yes, a calendar countdown.
A countdown, yeah.
Do one for the mummies. Do one for the mummies. And keep updating that motherfucker.
That's the whole thing with Corbell, though, Ollie. I mean, he's got to know that all these things, like, even though I think the jury may be still out on Grusch because, they're going to get another hearing and maybe they can convince them to get him a clearance or something. I'll give him one more shot. But, I mean, all of these moments where these things keep crashing, like, Corbell has got his neck out there really bad, really big time. If anyone's going to look like a clown out of this, if nothing ever comes from much of it, he's going to be right on the front stage with Knapp, and they're going to look bad together. And so I wonder how much of him is trying to kind of deflect, like you're saying, damage control, get his opinion out there that right now that he doesn't believe it. Let's move on and try to get back to something that has a little bit more hope for him long term, maybe. I mean, he's got to be thinking down the road. I mean, he mentioned, that he only wants 16 or 17 more episodes of Weaponized. So it's like the guy's already seeing a way out. Maybe to move on. What do you think?
I mean, what's he done before this? He's done some
3 or 4 documentaries and jiu-jitsu.
No, but jiu-jitsu and that. I mean, his success has been with UFOs. Why?
I mean, he comes from money anyway.
He would be crazy to move on from that.
He's too tied on to Nap's coattails. I mean, he's basically the heir apparent to what Nap does.
I mean, despite what everybody else might think about, and I don't know what you guys all think about Corbell, but I don't want him to go anywhere. I kind of like him in the field. I like watching people go back and forth with it. I think it's interesting.
I find him entertaining. I don't dislike the guy. I mean, I think 95% of what comes out his mouth is bullshit, but I do find him entertaining.
I just think he's going to run into the same issue that Bob Lazar ran into, though, guys, which is, he could have went to the hearing and didn't go to the hearing. He was a supposed firsthand witness and never showed up. At some point in time, your number is going to get called. And if they can't get anywhere with Grusch and they can't get anywhere with, let's say, these mummies, let's say they look into him further, at a certain point in time, he has to kind of stop saying he's going to run out of leads. He's going to have to go, right? He's going to have to. I mean, how many more Grushes are going to come up that they're going to put, throw out on stage? I don't know.
Guys, am I right in saying that Congress has got subpoena power? They could subpoena Lazar to appear.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah.
I wonder. I think that small select committee they were trying to create would have that power.
Yeah, so they could, if they wanted to, get Lazar in front of the cameras to speak. But I think
Stu's working the documentary now.
No, I'm just thinking, like, I think he would shoot himself in the foot if he ended it, and he knows that. It's the same as, like, you'll never go toe to toe with an actual physicist that knows his stuff,
Right.
because when you actually dig deeper than the surface of what Bob actually says, it's just bullshit. Yeah, well, Weinstein, there you go. Yeah. Eric.
I always keep him handy, Stu.
You do. But no, they'll. I mean, you'll not go toe to toe with anybody that knows what they're talking about at all. So, yeah, I'm not going to say.
I agree with you.
If I say anything else, I'm literally going to give away the documentary.
No. I mean, just to expand on that, Stu. I mean, I think you're right. I think the more and more time has went on for Bob, it's like he won't talk to Weinstein, right? He won't go to Congress, but he'll go do Gravatar and make a documentary and make a book and make all of these things.
What's that Gravatar thing about? I kind of noticed that.
Yeah, that's the new thing he's taken a big part in right now, where they're going to do a documentary on him again. They're going to do a book on him again, and there's one other piece. I can't remember the third thing that they're doing, but the problem is like the more and more that people offer him opportunities to go talk to people that could actually prove his story, and he just avoids those and only goes to the ones where no one's going to ask him any questions, it continues to just degrade his story and credibility more and more and more and more. The internet doesn't let you get away with much anymore. They're going to hold your feet to the fire, and that's what's happening to him as time has went on. He could get away with this shit in the 80s, man. In the 90s, he could get away with it, but it's we're at the time now. It's coming home to roost on everybody.
Yeah, that's very true.
Do you think people's attitudes would have changed on Lazar if they'd have got him in front of Congress?
I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, but the thing is, he'll just be regurgitating the same story he's been saying for the past 30 years. People like you and me be like, yeah, we know all this, but admittedly, in front of Congress. So it's a big deal in that way, but it's like, again, everyone's saying, providing the proof. This is it.
Yeah.
But it would have made a lot of sense if he was there.
I think people look at Lazar. I think people would look at. I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to say this. When you look at Corey Good, David Wilcock, you can believe what you want about them, but you can tell that there's a lot of hoopla. Secret space programs. Bob is just like them. There's just no blue chicken aliens. That's why I think he's so much more believable. I think if he would have came out, I think if Bob would have came out and offered, a free energy car, what was that plane Wilcock's supposed to do? If Corey Good, like he came out and said that he was talking to these aliens. If you think about it, look at all three of those guys. The only real difference is Bob just doesn't have it like the woo there. But everything else is grounded. Corey Good said secret space program. If Corey Good would have stopped right there at secret space program, you probably would have believed him as much as you did Lazar. except he just went way off. And Bob kind of started to go off a little bit when he talked about the mind altering, their memory altering, like stuff that he took,
that liquid that he drank.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think if you strip down the woo and look at both of them, Corey Good, Dave Wilcock, it's very similar like that, man.
That's very true. Listen, guys, I'm gonna have to bail. My dog is going mental in the next room. She has.
Stu, thanks for joining us, mate.
Good to meet you, Stu.
Nice to
I
meet
will
you,
catch
Stu.
up with you guys at some point. I'm also going to check out your channel more.
I appreciate you, man. We want to see your documentary when it comes out too. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks very much.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be. I've seen the trailer and some bits, but it's going to be good.
There's more bits now. Right. Anyway, guys, have a good one. I'll catch you
too.
later.
Have
Just
a great
take it
weekend.
easy, man.
Just bye bye.
Nick, so you mentioned just then about Lazar, and that you do think it would hold some ground if he had have got in front of Congress. Do you think it would have, from what you've witnessed in, like, from this community, when it comes to content creators that will speak for or against, usually against, anybody who's talking about UFOs, do you think that would have changed the attitude of content creators if Lazar had gone in front of Congress?
Yeah, possibility. I mean, he's a big deal in ufology when you look at it. You know, he's always been there in the background, and I think it's sort of going to bring him out when they want to. I think next they have another Congress hearing, he might show his face. You never know. But I was speaking to someone in my boot camp, and he's a complete normie, and we were talking about UFOs, and we were talking about Bob Lazar and stuff like that. And he says, "Dude, it's quite amazing how the ufology is now in the public eye, is more acceptable." And I think with all these so-called whistleblowers, I mean, Grusch isn't a whistleblower, but someone like Lazar that goes into detail about the craft. I mean, regardless if he's fake or not, he's very good at speaking. And with his sort of persuasion, because I mean, look at Joe Rogan podcast that he did, it's very persuasive, very persuasive.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on the people, Ollie. People take it different ways, mate. But I think it would have put a more positive light on Lazar if he did testify. But who knows? Everybody's different, man. I'm asking, do you know what? I'm asking so many normal people that are not in this field that don't even believe in UFOs. I mean, what do you think about UFOs? What do you think about this? And you always get a different answer, always different response. So it's going to be different. It's going to be difficult, man, what you're going to get. But I think going back to your original question, yeah, I think it would have eased Bob Lazar a bit better. But people like you and me know that he's fake. I'm sorry, but
it would have changed my mind a little bit. Yeah, I would have given him more credit if he would have went, for sure. It would have pissed me off if he would have went and not took the 115. You know, that would have made it maybe not as good. But yeah, I mean, if he's willing to get up there and put his face on there and put his hand on the Bible, sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah. So, have we got another hearing coming up or anything like that? Is that it for the year?
Yeah, we've got one. We've got one next month in the UK where Nick Pope is going in front of.
I thought you were joking.
He's no. He's going in front of the house.
Really? Oh, fucking Christ!
You're 2 for 2 on that. You're 2 for 2.
Mate, I'm gonna get a fucking poster of Nick Pope right here.
Yeah,
fucking hell,
mate. That's not for you. That's not for you. I'm, like, genuinely, I want to. I'm going to, like, I'm going to do like a small video on Alien Addict. Not many people make it this far into a video. That are genuinely into the podcast. I think I may start a room and go, I'm Alien Addict from the UK. Nick Pope is going in front of our government. Like, this is happening next month, and just to see what happens. Just to spread something, just like Stephen and his Linda Moulton House cows, which is great.
Yeah, PETA's on the case on that one. They're going to get after it.
Nick Pope, the Lord of Worship
Pope,
himself.
Pope was just on News Nation today. He was talking about transparency with NASA, how he wants NASA to be more transparent, and yeah, everybody does.
Doesn't NASA stand for never a straight answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was weird alone, the whole NASA thing. I mean, we spoke about that last week. The whole NASA, like with the alien mummies bit. I know that's not NASA. That was somebody asking, the audience asking the questions. But this has never happened before. I've never seen NASA being, and I know it was a UFO, UAP, sorry, hearing, like not hearing, sorry, a UAP, like talking about what they're going to do with UAPs.
Yeah, like an announcement conference.
But it's just like, we got the Mexican alien mummies, we got David Grusch, we got our BBC, we got ITV, we got, you know, our media was there talking about this. This has now hit the UK. This is the first time this has happened for us. So we don't get any. Am I right, Nick? We don't get nothing. Nobody's interested.
Yeah, it's weird.
But recently now, all of a sudden, it's like, UK's going to get a bit of this.
I think people are mostly getting
need to know a bit of this.
Yeah, I think it's more down to social media, mate, than like the BBC or that sort of side of the mainstream media. I think everyone's getting information from like Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that. So there is definitely some transparency. But yeah, do you guys think like something is brewing? I don't want to talk about Project Bluebeam because I think that's just an internet sort of sensation that's been popularized. But
I think
feel like
this is. Yeah, it's well, because it's weird because like the whole, just in general, like the whole transparency, like pretty much UAP conference that they held, like you never heard NASA talk about anything like that before, and like that was like the main thing that they just kept repeating was transparency, and they said the same thing about like anything national security wise. And they said, like, you know, if something's a security threat, you know, we'd want anybody to tell us, and then we'd go on with it and take the information as it will. And they're like, we want to be that way with the general public and everything, you know, be as transparent as possible. And it's like, well, why now all of a sudden? Like, why are you really now trying to push this transparency agenda and everything? And like you said, you guys never really got much of it until social media and everything kind of opened the floodgates and just sent it everywhere. And then that's all. I see more clips about NASA now all over all sorts of social media than I have before. And it's all from the UAP, you know, conference meetings or whatever you want to call it. It's really interesting.
I think a lot of it's boiled down to the algorithms as well, because we all look into UFOs, and that's what always comes up on my news feed constantly. No matter what I do, YouTube. I'm not really on any social media, but it will pop up on any news feed of mine. So the algorithms know you.
I said this last week, and I'll say it again. If I was one of the reporters there. And I actually do think James Fox asked good questions. Like some people was puzzled by his questions, but if you actually break those questions, if you actually think about those questions, he actually did ask intelligent questions. First question seemed a little bit like, but then once you kind of digest it, you kind of like you got it. But then the second question was great, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Maybe one of you two might. But the question What was
the second one was there a plan if they do find it extraterrestrial to roll it out?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really good, yeah.
That was the question of that entire thing. It really was. Like, what will you do if you do find this evidence? What will you say? Will you tell the public?
It was like the worst answer though. You bet your boots. Yeah. Best question, worst answer. And I was like, man.
So Mr. Rion, your mic sounds terrible. It sounds like it's being shoved up your arsehole. Try it again. No, mate. Drop back out and drop back in. It sounds turnip. His mic's not working at the minute. The question that I would have wanted to ask, and I want to come to all you guys with what you would ask if you were there, is, and I said this last week, so I'm going to repeat myself, but I think it's a beauty. What did Buzz Aldrin mean when he said the moon of Mars, Phobos, there's a monolith on there? Who put that there? I would ask NASA, what is on Phobos? What is that object on Phobos that sticks out? Because there is an object that sticks out on Phobos, and it looks odd as shit. Have you seen that thing?
Yeah.
It's what,
Could
mate?
you bring it up? Could you bring up the photo?
Do you want to your boys have it handy?
No. I've seen what you're
Sorry,
talking
Ollie. So you say it looks like a monolith?
Mate, it's massive. There's a huge, so Phobos, the moon on Mars, that's an odd shape. Yeah. There is a massive thing coming out of that. They're like the 3D scans of it has got this weird thing, and
right,
and it's like the only weird thing that sticks out.
Yeah, and people could say that is just it's just coincidence, but the fact that Buzz Aldrin made, and I can't remember which news channel he was on when he spoke about it, but if I'm right by saying that he said there's a monolith on Mars, and then he went into it a little bit more, and then he went, who put that there? Maybe God did. It was just so odd and out there. That is what I would have asked them. NASA, I'd just say, what on earth is that? What is that? Can you tell us what that is? Can you give us an explanation for that? Is the things you're not telling us about Mars?
Yeah, I think that would have been one of those questions that they would have been like, yeah, I can't tell you at this time, just like their financial things, and then who the actual head director was. It'd be a Nikki Fox or Bill Nelson answering it, and it'd be the same probably answer as the other ones. It'd be like, no, I can't tell you.
Which I was watching you two motherfuckers the other day, and you know who the guy is. What's his name? Michael?
Yeah, I forgot. Ice Cream might remember. Because I didn't remember it. I didn't even know it until later that day. Because I watched the hearing or the UAP conference, and they didn't announce the name after I think maybe even like 2 people asked about it. But I know like the first person to ask the questions about the financial budgeting and everything and who the actual head is, they didn't have it until 2 hours later.
you're talking about the director name? Yeah, McKinnery. Yeah.
Yes.
What's his phone? Is it Michael McKinnon?
I think it's Kevin. I think it's Kevin, if I'm right.
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's Kevin, but I remember McKinnery. I could be wrong on Kevin, but no, Ali, you bring up a good point though, man. Is the interesting thing is the second question
Mr.
from
Ian, welcome, mate, by the way, my lad.
Can you hear me okay? No, tell me what mic working.
No, mate, it sounds terrible.
They are dead. You are not.
No, mate, your mic sounds absolutely terrible. I'm going to drop you down because because every time you speak, it sounds like God shouting at me.
Sounds like Tanix from Destiny.
It's the mic reduction.
Oh, that's perfect.
It seems to be the mic reduction. Is that working?
Yes.
And then we get an echo.
Yeah.
No, we can hear it. Mr. Ian, I'm going to drop you down till you fix that.
But no, Ali, you bring up a good point. The second question from him was good. And I think that, yeah, it was a silly answer. You bet your boots. But I think the answer like that from NASA, though, is very telling to where didn't sound like they took it very serious, that they thought they were going to find anything, because it doesn't sound like they had a plan if they did find anything, because he would have said something other than you bet your boots, right? So what was NASA's confidence and what was their open-mindedness really going into this? Because if I was them and I thought, okay, we really could run into something here in the next year or so, we better have something to come out and tell. They don't seem like they thought they were going to find anything.
Okay, Ice Cream, while we're on you, what would, if you could have asked them anything?
I would have asked them, I would have asked to see their satellite imagery, man. I mean, they've got satellites, they've got imagery. I want to see the videos that they're looking at from their satellites. That's what I want to know. Because I don't think we got any video out of the report, did we? I didn't see anything from them video-wise.
No, nothing.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. I want to know where is the video.
Have we had anything from the the Chinese probe that landed on the other side of the?
Your mic sounds absolutely fantastic, mate. It's
sexy.
I think if you stand about there, it works. But when you go,
Do you think? Go down the means. Find your mind.
no, I think you've got some sort of like software on that, mate, and it's not working.
Stuck in a bowl of Rice Krispies.
You think?
Either that or a power
You
cord
think?
might be running next to it too.
It's. I'll drop you down again, Misty, and I'll mute you until you fix it. Give me a thumbs up once you think it's fixed.
Yeah, it could be interference from a power source too. Yeah, I want to see what they have, what the videos that they were looking at of their own. I find that really suspect that they don't release any of that too. What they're looking at, I mean, just words on the page. We need more than that right now. That's not full transparency from NASA that I want.
So you ask them to release all the satellite imagery, all of it.
Anything that's related to UAP that they use to compile for the report. Yeah.
And how would they do that?
Well, I mean, you'd have to go back and clip it. Like
how would they do that without? Because obviously there'll be some of that that's very sensitive because of at the end of the day, they see the entire planet and they see all the countries and everything that's going on.
Yeah, but I don't think their stuff is classified though, right? I mean, they were talking about how Aero and our military's systems were classified at that point. Where they were, and they always say, the image itself isn't classified. It's the way they're capturing the image. But I don't think that stuff from NASA is supposed to be classified at all. How
that's what they were saying. That's what they kept saying. What was the thing that they used? The biggest word they used the most in that hearing? I can't remember.
Transparency.
There you go.
Right? Why would you even have to bring up transparency if none of that's supposed to be classified? There'd be no reason to even bring up transparency. So,
but Ali, they didn't use the Aero stuff though. They didn't use any classified. They didn't look into any classified footage from Aero. They said that they stayed completely just on their own systems, which would be unclassified at that point. So, I mean, if their stuff is unclassified and that's all they dealt with, why are we not seeing that?
See, I thought they said they followed just one example from Aero, and then since that one example, they've gone off and done their own thing with the UAP program.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could have. I mean, Aero has unclassified videos too around their website. I mean, I'm sure that they took in the Tic Tac and all those things too, but they were saying that there was classified videos that Aero has that they didn't have any access to for the report. I mean, they could have got access to it. It's not that they couldn't have. They could have, but they said because of full transparency, we know that if we would have looked at the classified imagery, we couldn't have included it. And so we couldn't have full control of the report. So I mean, I'm sure that they have footage that's of their own of UAPs.
No, I mean,
that's the stuff that I want to see. Yeah, the unclassified stuff.
What would you ask, Stephen?
I would ask to see any reports on any anomalies that they have been doing data research on the most. I mean, anomalies, right? That's what they're doing research on. But I mean, they don't really say specifically what anomalies. And obviously there have been some specific anomalies that have driven them to start, in my opinion, a branch from the Aero to UAP.
Well, what was it Patrick said? He said the thing that we see the most is these orb-like things.
Right.
So if Arrow that's been here for what? How long's Arrow been here? Is it a year?
June of.
Is it 2022? I think.
Yeah, I think so. I know it started in June.
Yeah.
So just over a year, and in that space of time, I mean, let's face it, they've probably been here a little bit longer for like the whole setup thing.
Yeah.
But like we've heard from Kirkpatrick that, you know, the main thing that they see is these little tiny, like, I'm going to say Foo Fighter like things, these little orbs that I guarantee NASA will have seen like something.
Yeah,
I would believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
If
I mean,
anybody's going to see something, it's those guys that they've
out of
Correct.
anybody, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, there's no way that our military has all these videos and NASA doesn't. I mean, the NASA's looking in the sky 100 times more than, you know, it's an exaggerated number, but way more often than all these other systems are, and they're looking in other places that we're not that the military doesn't look in, that we might find crafts coming in, you know, coming into the atmosphere more, you know.
Yeah. That's a good point you mentioned, like military too, because like you said, Ali, like the Foo Fighters things, it's always been like a militaristic like anomaly or like phenomena that they're gathering data on. But anything outside of that, you don't really hear about that much from, you know, like NASA or Aero or their UAP program and stuff like that. So it seems to be like something based around that, to where they're gathering this data.
Yeah, we got chatting about the Foo Fighters, didn't we, Nick?
Yeah, briefly. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a video on it to really break it down. But yeah, it's two sides of the story to that. They're the most likely probes that were designed to take down military aircraft. Well, our alloy aircraft using very high
drones way back then.
Yeah. But basically, what it is, actually, there's a document I've got released from the FBI that's actually describes a circular disc aircraft, and it has a specific fuel mixture. And the idea is to actually, these probes will go next to the Allied aircraft bombers and have disrupt a magnetic field, and it'll disrupt the aircraft's interior cockpit recordings, and it will just end up crashing. So instead of shooting them out of the sky, they would send these probes up. But the Germans also saw these, and the Japanese saw these as well. So it's very sketchy. It's very sketchy. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Germans did design something like that.
Didn't UK saw them as well, didn't they?
Yeah, no, these are the Allied bombers. When I say the Allies, I'm talking about the
Right.
Americans and
Yeah.
British. So yeah, but there are reports of these coming from the airfield coming up. So I'm going to break it all down in a video. I'm going to get all the documents, everything, and I'm going to break everything down.
There are reports from them actually being launched from an actual airfield.
Yeah, over an airfield, because what happened near the end of the war, this is Peenemünde and Prague. So these are specifically they were designing these turbine-driven aircraft, these circular disc aircraft, also the V2 and all the I'll say rocket technology was at Peenemünde.
Sorry, Nick. Was that the German?
Yes,
airfields?
Germans. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Germans airfield. So basically,
I'm just Peenemünde sounds a bit Scottish there. I'm just like,
yeah. So Peenemünde and Prague is where all the Germans were designing their top secret weaponry, specifically the flying saucers, the V2 rockets, and all that sort of stuff. And near the end of the war, I say about a couple of weeks before the end of the war, 1945, we were bombing the shit out of that specifically those airfields. And there is one report I will pull up in the video of these small probes coming up. But as soon as they come up to a Pacific atmosphere, they started to glow. And you describe them as Christmas tree ornaments in the sky, lights. But these will have a trail behind it. And this is what Foo Fighters kind of were.
Like a contrail.
Because when they started to glow really, really bright, it had like a glow trail behind it. There is one photograph I've got in a book that's not on the internet, and you can see the Foo Fighter, but it's got a trail behind it. And there's a very famous photograph of a Foo Fighter, and you can clearly see it's breaking the sound barrier, because you've never seen like an aircraft when it breaks the sound barrier, it gets like a big a circular ring of like mist, and you can clearly see that in this Foo Fighter. It's breaking the sound barrier, and as you can see, it's it has this halo around it. We could do an episode on it, Ollie, if you wanted to.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, I would be super interested in that.
Yeah, because I can get all the information up. Yeah, I could do that.
I'm honestly the whole like German Foo Fighter thing and the bell, I find extremely interesting.
I do too. It's the one side of it that I've never took a lot of time into. That's why, not to blow smoke, I can't wait for you to see some more of your stuff on this stuff, dude. Like I want to learn a lot more about it, man. I'm serious. Yeah.
I think I've literally started. I've literally started making videos on it, so I should have released the first one within the next couple of weeks. This is going to be like the beginning of the Flying Saucer program, and I'm going to do it in at least 15 series, so the 15 episodes. I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to go so deep in the
have you took
ass
stuff from the old, have you took screenshots from them old books that you've got there?
Yeah, I've actually ordered more books as well. I'm going deep dive. I'm actually looking to go to the in Poland, what's it called, the Henge, where they allegedly tested the aircraft, the Bell aircraft. Bell project, basically. So I'm looking to break everything down, because there's no channel that does that. There's no channel that really goes into the nitty gritty and put things in chronological order and say, right, this is the timeline, this is and it makes things more sense, because it's such a fucking clusterfucking conspiracy. But I tell you what, guys, if you want, we can do an episode on Foo Fighters and the Roswell link connection. Honestly, I need to do a bit more research into it to really get to do a full episode. But yeah, mate, I'll be happy to do that.
Let us know when you're ready, Nick. We'll get a few people in, so we can all we'll put you right in the middle.
Absolutely.
We'll just fire the questions. But
pressure, man, pressure.
Oh no, it's good, man. It's good.
Speaking of pressure, so if you're gonna ask NASA one question,
yes, right, I'll say first of all, the main thing is evidence. Footage, fantastic. I mean, you make a great point, Ice Cream, is that the fact that they got so many satellites, how many bloody years have been looking at the sky? Okay, since the 50s. So they must have dozens and dozens of footage. And also, I want to know who the bloody director is. And don't give me this nonsense, we have too much threats and people being nasty on the internet. But that comes with the territory, honey. Who is the director of this program? Is it someone from Arrow? I just find it odd why they won't disclose that. But those were the questions I would ask, Ollie.
Well, we've got the director now, because Ice Cream knows the name.
Yeah,
Colin? Did you say it's Colin Michaels?
I think it's McKinnery. I'm trying to remember his first name, man. The first name is gonna kill me, of course.
It's someone mispronounced, not Colin.
I think it's Kevin.
Big Kev.
Wish I had it off the top of my head, man.
But it is a good point, Nick, that question, because it's weird that like that conference with like NASA and their UAP program, and I'm pretty sure it was either the first or the second person to step up and ask the questions. It was one of those questions, and during that conference, their first conference, or might have even been their second one, I don't remember, but they didn't want to give the answer. And then strangely enough, I think literally like 45 minutes before we started doing our podcast, he was like, oh yeah, they released the name the same day. And I was like, huh, that's pretty strange. Like, it's weird that like they didn't want to disclose it, and then a couple hours later it ends up being public knowledge. Like, they're like, oh yeah, here's the name.
You've got to tell them it looks dodgy. It looks dodgy if you don't tell them.
It definitely does.
Yeah,
it definitely does. Yeah, it hurts. It throws that transparency thing right out of the window, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole excuse they used for not naming the guy was that they, the abuse, the trolling,
it's Mark, by the way. It's Mark McKinnon. It's Mark.
The bullying that NASA got. When?
I mean,
do you not think that it could just? Could you not think it could just be politeness? Like, so basically, before you bring someone to the fore, you go, you know that guy? Maybe we should have a word with him. I mean, like, don't bring his name up. We'll go and have a word with him. And if he's cool with it, then he'll come forward. That sort of thing.
I could agree with that, but it's also weird that he wasn't even on the panel though either for
That's a
that
good
conference.
point.
It's also like really strange. Like,
There's always a bigger fish, though, isn't there?
I guess behind the curtains. I mean,
what did you think to that whole NASA UAP thing, Ian?
What do I think of the current?
What did you think to the whole NASA UAP?
What, in generally? What,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole Grusch? The Grusch?
No,
thing
no,
at the
no, no,
moment?
no. The NASA one. The NASA addressing
another burger with no filling.
I like that analogy. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
Just another burger with no filling.
See, but you're like, I would say at least 2 years older than all of us.
Go on.
See, so you've been you've been probably you've been interested in this subject for longer. Would I be right by saying that?
We had all the Eric von Daniken books, the
right
Ancient Aliens things in the bookshelf as a child. I remember reading them when I was 5 or 6. You know.
So there must have been a time in your life when you were saying to yourself, and we were speaking about Area 51 earlier. We can get back on that because we're probably going to go for about two.
I was trying to log in. I've been trying to log in since the start of the show.
I know. Oh, mate, I got a new phone today. I haven't.
Yeah,
got
I know.
Facebook.
I figured.
I don't have
Facebook. I
Facebook.
tweeted you everything, man.
Yeah. I saw
was
on
like,
Twitter
Ollie,
because
what's happened?
I logged into Twitter to get the Jeremy Corbell, and I saw your message. Like,
I gather you like the Linda Moulton Howe stuff we did with the AI.
I didn't expect that. I actually did think that he had
just
genuine
silly.
whistleblowers. But
oh no, it was a pain to do. We had to generate all the voices with AI.
Oh,
You
I
have
get
to
it.
generate them in blocks and then cut up all the individual lines and then remember which bits went where and then mesh them all together. Oh god,
it was actual genius because I get it. It's the whole. It's a piss take against the whistleblower thing. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yes, yeah.
Highly recommend people go watch Cambian's Whistleblower.
Hi Nick, by the way.
Hi,
You
Mr.
right, boy?
You all right, mate?
You right, boy?
All good.
Where are you? Down. You're Bristol. Bristol.
Yeah. I'm a West Country person. You can tell by I sound like a farmer.
No, I lived in Bishop's Lydia, just outside Taunton for a year. On the edge of the Quantocks, so I know what it's like there. It's beautiful, isn't it, mate?
That's nice, mate. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I also sound like a pirate as well. So,
well, that's where they come from. That's where they are. I dated a lass on Portland Island.
You say you dated a pirate,
it's got a submarine base on the other side. If you walk too far around the island, you get turned back by armed soldiers. But there's pirate coves all around there. There's probably still buried treasure somewhere.
Yeah, possibly. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Sweet. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's nice to speak to you.
No
You've got an amazing voice.
No, thank
You've got amazing voice.
Mr. Eon, I've heard your voice a few times on Cambian's show. Like something that sounds very.
You hear my voice in many places and places where you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is something that you might do for a living.
Well, you may hear my voice on television and you may hear my voice on Steve's show and various other places. A couple of radio stations I do jingles for. So.
It's unique. I caught my wife listening to you the other day. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, bless. Oh, no. My wife has banned it. I wanted to do, apparently, what's the guy called that did the latest? Tom Hardy? The guy that did the latest Mad Max films.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
big Tom.
Yeah, he decided to do a bedtime story channel on YouTube, and like an audio podcast, audio book thing, and he got a massive female following, and they obviously weren't just listening for the bedtime story aspect. So I suggested doing a bedtime story channel. And some of my female fans have agreed, said, yeah, brilliant.
Oh, there you go.
And my wife, as a result, has banned me from doing it.
So in terms of like the whole NASA thing. If you were to ask NASA one question at that UAP, whatever it was, what would that question be?
What was the connection between Jack Parsons and Crowley and the magic and all the ritual side of things that came from the paperclip, the bring over of all the scientists that were involved in the Vril? I mean, remember the SS was a ritual magic organization.
I did not expect you to go that deep.
So I would have wanted to know how. I would have wanted to know how you can link ritual magic. So, I mean, I've got the Blavatsky books. I've got the full set of six really old hardback Blavatsky books that are the Secret Doctrine.
So for somebody who's listening to this now, watching this, that has no idea who Jack Parsons is when it comes to NASA, and
sorry, it's the Jack Parsons Laboratory, otherwise known as the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JP.
Who Aleister Crowley is in literally 2 minutes. Break that down.
Crowley's.
We did a show on Aleister Crowley, so we know who Aleister Crowley is.
Man, I missed it.
He's very, very, very kind of misunderstood and dark character because of where he went with, a lot of magic, and because that's very much an abrasion to the church, and because the UK is the Church of England, we're a Christian country, to have a theosophical magic user that was trying to use sympathetic magic and what they believed was real magic and ritual process in order to achieve an ends was is banned in the Bible. It's banned in the Bible. In the Bible it says you can't use magic. Not allowed. Don't do it.
You've got factual information there for NASA with Jack Parsons.
Well, yeah, because he was fascinated by Crowley and Blavatsky and Victor Schauberger as well, was it?
Victor Schauberger.
Kablinsky and all the Theosophical Society members. And they were obviously onto something, and Hitler also recognized that because he went on his tirade around Europe, marching around monasteries in Tibet, trying to collect whatever.
That was going to be my question.
Relics and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
The Spear of
Destiny.
So it leads on to that. Jesus,
yeah, exactly. Yes.
There
you go. Yeah. So how does that all lead on? Because that all led on. Jack Parsons then went. Now, at what point did he do that? Was that after Operation Paperclip? So we bring all these German SS high-ranking officers over here, and I mean, the SS wasn't the Boy Scouts, and it wasn't just a military organization. They had the whole Vril energy thing. They had Maria Orsicht as well, who Marina Seren, this long blonde-haired lass that claims that she's a reincarnated Vril dame, doesn't she? You familiar?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. She's that new girl, right?
Oh, you do? Yeah, that new girl. I've got. Yeah. I chat. I do AI art for everyone, basically, including. Marina.
Are you talking about the young pretty girl? Like,
yes,
yeah, I think he
is.
Yeah,
long blonde hair. Yeah. She's a gorgeous
the one
lass.
that everybody accused of being Nazi.
Yeah.
And because she's taking symbols on. I mean, my girlfriend does it as well. She'll go she'll go out on a t-shirt with "I love Satan" written on it. But I mean, it doesn't mean that she's doing it for the shock. She's doing it for the shock factor, and she's doing it because it's a perceived.
She's a young girl, and she's
yeah. It's a taboo. It's a taboo that you're wielding dangerously, and that's what she's doing. So, and unfortunately, I think she's watched Iron Skies too much because the whole
thing. Me, you get around, lad, don't you? You do get around because like Campion's done like shows about her, and you're like you're like crossing the swords with this shit.
I just like dangerous women. What can I say?
It's interesting you mentioned about the
And not
thrill
that,
because
not that. My granddad was a Lancaster bomber pilot. He was a Douglas Dauntless dive bomber pilot, and at the end of the war, he was seconded from his squadron to fly a Lancaster bomber with some Polish guys who knew the terrain from the air, and they were taking out like dam busters. They were using the Barnes-Wallis bouncing bombs to take out a hydroelectric dam in Aachen, and he got blown out of the air on the way home. As a result, I don't like Nazis. I really don't like Nazis.
That's a good thing.
I don't like
I don't think you're
people
supposed
that
to.
killed my granddad. You know,
No.
and we never got to meet him as a result. So there's like
But I know what you're saying
it's
with
like severing a family line. It's horrible.
I know what you're saying with the young lady that everybody accuses of being a Nazi. She's just a young kid that's just
Yes.
she's just like
but she could be so much. She could be so much more because there's a lot of talent there.
What were you going to say, Nick?
Yeah, I was going to say, when it comes to the thrill, because I'm going to go a deep dive into the thrill. I've studied the thrill energy, which can be date back to Lena Blavatsky, is that's the name of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blavatsky.
And Alistair Crowley. So it's a very much a mystery, a life force, as they describe it back in the early 19th century. When it comes to Maria Orsic and the Thrill Society, I have researched high and low, trying to find out where these stories come from. And I'm going to be honest with you.
Nick, I've got the full 6-book set of the Secret Doctrine, the full 6-set hardback. It's like a couple £100 if you try and get it on Amazon, I think. If you can find a copy of it. It's like 1938 print or something. The Theosophical Society manual. But if you want, I can give you any bits of it if you want.
I'll be interested in mystery. Is there any mention of Maria Orsic? Because I cannot find any information. The only information I can find where the story where she came from was from a book called The Vril Project. Two Austrians called Norbert Johann Rackhofer and Ralph Ettel that produced two Nazi flying saucer documentaries in the late 80s, early 90s, and they produced co-wrote a book together. Sorry, I'm all over the place at the moment. So they wrote a book together called The Vril Project, and that's where the symbol of the Thrill Society came from, and Maria Orsic. So I cannot find any information on Maria Orsic.
You won't find any information on her because she's if she was a nobody to begin with and then fell into the inner circles and went from being a nobody to the inner circles, you're not going to find out anything about them. Just like you won't find anything out about the royal family of a man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They'll have security up so much that if you were friends with them, you'd be able to find out shit about them. But like,
we need to do a show about this. But like, you two need to kind of like.
Oh man, it's going to be
because
interesting.
I have. This is kind of like this is way out of my.
No, you can't do that because it'll have me.
Too sure about these two boys, but I'm like
my Somerset accent will come back as well. And that's worse.
Yeah, honestly,
so
because that is.
I'm from Norfolk originally, and it's not a dissimilar accent, so I'll be back in there with you, mate.
This is when it comes to the esoteric side of the Nazi flying saucers. Maria Orsic and the Vril Society plays a big role, and that's a whole new episode. I can't find any evidence of the Vril Society or Maria Orsic. All the photos of her are doctored. I cannot find any original photograph. There were sketches.
Paul Wallace raised a very, very, very good point. Have you seen that he's got a video coming out tomorrow, the Fifth Kind?
What's this called, Mystery?
Paul Wallace, that does the Fifth Kind, even says it that.
Yeah.
He's got a thing coming out tomorrow about this entire
this
the whole Grusch thing, everything.
Like, Nick, we're going to have to speak about this. We are going to do a show on. Like,
okay, cool.
I want to bring it back because we've got literally not long left now of the show. Let's take it back into Area 51. We've got Mystery on that's just joined us now. So I want to feed this out to the five of us. Mystery on. we mentioned earlier in the show Area 51, and my thoughts with it is that my question, was that it does seem like that there is supposed to be some sort of disclosure at the moment that your next door neighbor is going to like ask you about over the fence about aliens because they obviously think you're into aliens.
IDO neighbor.
Yeah. Now, my thing with this is I'm wondering if the best way they could possibly do it would be to bring back that old classic Area 51. Now, we've heard hints of this.
We're not going to get disclosure, by the way. There is a glaring reason why.
Okay, don't come all over my face before I've finished, right? Just let me. Like,
that's why StreamYard's better.
Like, oh my god, I didn't like. Jesus Christ, mate! Honestly, just blow your load that quickly. You gotta savor it.
In your eye, mate.
Yeah, felt it. My thing,
literally, it's coming up tomorrow. There's a glaring reason why it's not going to happen.
Seriously. Yeah, but does it not seem though that over the last few years that it is like your next door neighbor is going to find out about this and ask questions when it comes to this?
They already do.
Okay, exactly. So so we're on track. I'm wondering if Area 51 would be the best if they wanted to pull something, if they wanted to pull the wool over our eyes.
I mean, Area 51 is a test ground, but that's not where they're keeping stuff at.
Yes,
at Area 51, it was S4, which is peripheral.
But that's for us. That's for us. But if there is going to be a disclosure that we're supposed to get, because
they can't give us a disclosure. So basically, if the government for the past 70 years has been in possession of a free energy source, yeah, and you correlate that with the fact that every year in the UK alone, between 30 and 80,000 elderly people die because they can't afford to pay their power bills and heat their homes. Okay, and you're saying that for the past 70 years we've had free energy. There's going to be an awful lot of people that are a bit cross that grandma died.
But what if it's not free energy? What if they have no idea? What if the way they will release this thing is that we've got this thing, we have no fucking idea of it?
What about the Muslim countries that believe that but that's just not going to happen?
Why would that take God out of the question?
What about are they Mormons? No, not Mormons. Who are the guys that build barns?
Amish.
That's the ones. They're going to be a bit miffed, aren't they? For a start, they've been missing out on using all the technology for a while.
But we've heard that old saying, haven't we?
I mean, it only takes God out of the question, though, Ali, is if there's a creation tie-in. I mean, if there's no creation story tie-in to it, I mean, yeah, you could leave God there at that point. But I mean, if we've been seated, you know.
But
I think there's God with big G and God with little G's, and I think what we've experienced was God with little G's. The Elohim as plural in the Hebrew, as opposed to singular in the Septuagint. Whoops.
Whether you believe him or not, the really interesting thing with this is we've had somebody who's been in this question since the late 90s, Bob Lazar. Quite recently, to recent times, said it was from an archaeological dig.
Yes.
That does not say that it's from space.
No.
So what could disclosure look like? Disclosure could be set to say we have whatever this is.
What number are we on at the moment? Because it's not the second time round. Because
no idea,
the Red Indians had record of it, and it's like we're on the 7th cycle at the moment or something. So when we're saying, oh, there's been a great civilization before the flood, apparently there's another 5 or 6.
Okay, let me rephrase that question. Let me rephrase that question for you then. Disclosure, like, forget the Area 51 thing. Does it seem to you like they are trying to hit hard on a disclosure? And I know you work closely with Cambion, so you good friend.
I'm between me, Carrie, and Bree.
Yeah.
And Carrie's doing a backseat at the moment. We're not getting a lot from him. Sam Fly does some music stuff for us, but pretty much it's me and Steve.
But
Lizzie's doing a bit.
Do you really think it's all just a grift, or do you think there's something that there's a reason why we're still into this?
Me and Steve were both the kids at the kids' party when the magician was on, and you'd see how the trick was done, and you would end up annoying all the other children by going, I know how that was done, look, it was there. And they were like, oh, it was magic until you showed us that. You know, and there's a certain element of people trying to, as soon as they bring the woo into it, as soon as they start talking about vibrations and crystal energy shells and claiming to have superpowers, that's, what are you talking about there? No, stop it. Really.
We're just not
some scientific proof for that.
You know, we're just not, it's not even that those things, it's not even, at least in my opinion, it's not even that those things aren't even possible. It's just we're not even close to even being at that point in the conversation yet. Like,
one thing that sticks with me, Lou Elizondo said that when he was investigating things and bringing the evidence to his superiors said to him, Lou, leave it. It's not what you think. They're demonic.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. And this is something I've wanted to say for a long time. The topic is bigger than Lou Elizondo, guys. Like, even Ryan Graves, the congressional hearings, all of this stuff. I mean, this stuff has gone on for 80, 90 years. If Lou and everybody turns out to be not a very useful source, which it appears to be right now, I just don't see what that has to do with all the other history prior to them. I think we give them way too much credit for the topic, and a lot of people want to steer away from the topic, or maybe start to think there's absolutely nothing based on 6 years of potential liars, probable liars, where it's like, dude, don't forget there's 80 other years of stuff. Like, I don't know.
As far as we know, too, right?
Yeah. I don't want to give Lou too much credit. I don't want to give Graves too much credit. I don't want to give Grusch too much credit.
Can you see the layering? You see the layering that's happening. So you've got the old school superior officers that are steeped in God and country. You know what I mean? That go to church every Sunday and are heavily involved in their local church and everything, and have to be seen to be saying that these things are demonic. They're not aliens, they're demons.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what they said to Lou, if we're to believe what he said was true, yeah.
Did you see the Reddit? Did you see the Reddit? Did you see the Reddit post? I believe this is going up. Steve's editing a video that I've got up on my channel at the moment, and I got the Reddit post where the alien extra biological entity, EBO, as they're calling them, is that extra biological organism, possibly. And this Reddit post where this guy's talking about how they were working on an EBO and how they worked out that they excrete ammonia because they don't have, that's their means of getting rid of waste. They don't have the same digestive system as us. They exist on liquids. They're an ephemeral creature, meaning that they don't last very long. They're created to serve a purpose, and to all in purposes, that's like summoning a demon, and the demon's there to serve the purpose until it's not, and it goes. You know, they're hive creatures, apparently driven by the female of the females of the species of the hive clan. controllers, and they use a low frequency.
Well, so why is nobody
A
speaking
low frequency
about this?
radio wave somehow
why
to
is it-
communicate with
why-
the males who work like.
Why is nobody speaking about
ants.
this? If this is what
And
you
they-
believe, if this is what
So,
you believe,
and the
to be-
reason why they seem demonic, or they don't have any respect for the individual, so they may seem cruel. They're on if they need blood or they need to extract some genetic material or something like that. They're just extracting it in the same way we would do, with little regard for a horse or a cow, or where we put big vents in the side of cows, don't we, so that we can check what's in their stomach just by putting your hand in the vent and close it up again afterwards. So they're doing the same thing to us, really. They don't have any regard for us as individuals because they are hive creatures.
Okay,
And
so
they're-
that
like
is-
bees
you-
don't. Bees will give their life
Mr. Ian.
in
Is that what you're saying it is?
That's what the aliens are. Yeah, they're aliens are more. If they're going to be organized enough to get into space and do all that and get across here, then they're probably hive-minded creatures, or they are carnivorous, predatory creatures like we were, which is what gets you and makes wars and gets progression and builds technology. I mean, the military
It
industrial
sounds to me
complex
like you're
does have a
saying that-
purpose.
But it sounds to me like you putting religion into this.
No, not at all. No. Like,
Am I
there
wrong?
is- if
like
there is a
you-
on a religious basis, I think that
I
we
don't
we
think there's
are
anything wrong with that.
all
But you sounds
we
like
are all
you calling them demons.
facets of a much larger crystal.
Are you saying demon just because there's lack of a better word to describe it?
Because they appear demon. We've used the word demon for centuries, haven't we? It's only really in the last century we're using the word. Even at the start of the 20th century, we'd have still used demons to describe an alien. Wouldn't we? The general purpose person on the street that hadn't read a sci-fi comic or a book. They really were the meat of the early 20th century, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to say that they could be demonic, they could be interdimensional, they could be anything. But I'm just not
even
willing
demonic.
To...
It's just another species.
Yeah,
isn't it? Even demonic.
Yeah,
even
correct.
That word demonic just describes an unpleasant alien thing, really.
I think also in that same realm, essence, right? It's one of the things like Bibles talk about too, is like an essence. So I think those are like honestly like the main terms that people would use to describe them, other than like ETs.
Yes, yeah. I mean, even if they're extra dimensional. So, I mean, if we take that, some of the stuff in the Bible is kind of trying to give us clues, or someone's written it down for a purpose. It's a story in there somehow. And that they're saying that there's another set of creatures that exist somewhere else that we can't go. That if we meet, they're going to be particularly nasty and horrid towards us because they are jealous of our position within our set of dimensions.
Yeah, I think
that's how it rolls out, isn't it?
No.
basically?
I mean, I think every theory that's out there about what these things are, whether they're interdimensional, demons, wherever, I think those are.
Demons,
it's all
aliens,
cool.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all interesting, and I think everyone should be able to have their opinion on it. For me personally, I'm not going to say I have an opinion of exactly what it is yet, because I don't even have a picture of the craft that's not blurry yet. We're not. We're not even close to even an honest, factual situation to be able to say it's demonic. We're just, you know what I mean? We haven't even seen one yet. It's great to talk about.
I mean, I've had a number of experiences since I was 8 through into my late 20s. I've had the covers pulled off my bed. Things appear in my room and then disappear from my room. Not just my room, with my wife at the time next to me in the bed. We've both seen it. And the last visitation, I had a full manifestation. It fully manifested. So they're not just shadows. They have a solid stage.
So for you, when you look at these Nazca mummies that have come out, and you look at the image that you've seen, do they look anything similar at all?
How big are they? If they're about 3 foot tall, then yeah, that would be. No, because the thing that I saw had reverse legs. The thing that I saw had either more animal legs, like a dog's, more like a dog's, or I wouldn't like to say goats, but definitely.
I know you mean
definitely.
you mean like the inverted legs.
Yes, digipose.
To a human.
Yes. So they go the other way, basically. Although that might be just an extended part of the foot, like it is in a cat. So what we think of being the reverse knee in a cat's leg, for instance, isn't. It is actually their ankle.
What they've said recently about those fake mummies is that they walk on. They don't walk. But they somebody did. I can't know where I saw it, but they did some sort of analysis and said these things walk on all fours.
Yeah. Well, this thing that manifested in the hotel room in the Canaries pulled all the sheets off the bed. I got up and I sat up and turned the light on next to the bed as my wife was wondering what the hell had gone on. I'd pulled the sheets. As it was pulling the sheets off the bed, I'd grabbed onto them and pulled. It had half climbed up onto the bed, and I flipped it off the bed onto its back, hit the tiled floor of the apartment, and screamed top of its voice at us. And I turned the light on, and this thing scrambled for the window, for the curtains, and it couldn't make a purchase on the tiled floor, so it was skating like the way when our cats do zoomies. Do you know what I mean? Who's got
Yes,
cats? We all got cats. And our cats are masters at drifting in the kitchen. Especially if you've got a laser pointer, because they'll do corners and they the legs skittering like that on the tiles. Well, that's exactly what this thing did as it was trying to get away. So which gave enough time for both me and my wife to see it quite clearly. And it was like a chimpanzee crossed with a cat with reverse legs. And I know that sounds mad.
Sounds sexy.
It wasn't built. It was not built right. It wasn't built effectively. So.
What do you mean by it wasn't built effectively? Like you mean it? You mean you looked at it? Doesn't look logical that it would.
It didn't look right. Move? No, it didn't look right.
Just like right. So you look at it and you go, you can't move. You can't.
It just didn't look right because it looked like.
Did it move well?
No,
obviously it did.
No, it was just ugly and awkward.
No, but it did move fast.
No, not well.
It must have moved quite fast because it
made 6 foot pretty quick. Yeah. It was up and out of there. The thing had just woken me up. I was like, "Fuck!" I'm about to jump out of bed and fight something on the floor.
And there was zero marijuana involved.
Yeah, no, nothing, none at all, none whatsoever, none whatsoever. We'd walked around the bay the evening before. And well, no, there's more to this story. There is more to this story because when I woke up, there were words in my head, and the words in my head were, "He wants to see you."
What is it goof on?
So I think, and when this disappeared off, like we sat in bed, my wife's going, "What was that?" Because this thing screamed in Spanish at us. And and you could see the curtains moving from where it had gone up behind the curtains. And we sat there for about half an hour, just going, "No, you go and look." "No, I'm not going to look." No. Oh, right. Anyway, I finally got out of bed, and I'm like, just look behind the curtains, and there's nothing behind the curtains, and the door was locked, and the bedroom window was locked from the inside. Nothing could have got out. And I mean, like, we checked every single tile in the room to see if the tiles would flip over. I mean, that's from watching Labyrinth, and she putting chalk marks on the tiles so she could find her way back out. And the little goblins were coming up and flipping the tiles over. And we're thinking, is that the case? And we went the hotel desk the following morning. and spoke to the woman on the desk, and told her what had happened. And I really was hoping that she was going to say, "Oh, it was probably a trained monkey sent to steal your jewelry," or any kind of. You remember, you're just off the coast of the Western Sahara here, and you've got all the lucky guys at Coraleco Market that sell you watches out of there. You want to buy a watch? That. So a lot of Nigerian hawkers and traders across there. So we thought it might have been something like that, or it might have been one of the local cats, or anything like that. And this lass on the desk looked at us, cold as, and said, I can have a priest sent to your room if you like. And it just knocked me and my wife cold. Why, that was the first go-to for her. Okay, you've had a demon in your room. I'll send a priest over if you like. Like it was
different cultures,
nothing.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing. Like it was a common occurrence. So
hotspots.
But Fuerteventura was the island that we were on. This is the winter guy, that Austrian bloke that has the winter mansion that's on one side of Fuerteventura, and there's meant to be a submarine base underneath it. A couple went looking for it in the 80s, went missing. There's apparently 2 submarines still down there, and there's fuel dockets from when the Nazi submarines went up the Med out to the Canary Islands and refueled on their way to Argentina.
Wow. Well, people, we've been going for like 2 hours and 15 minutes, but before we do blast off,
I'm sorry,
no, mate, Mr. Ian, it's fascinating. We need to get a one-on-one with you on that whole story, actually, because I'm fascinated by the whole demon alien thing.
And I've had a few experiences with them as well, so I don't know if I'm lucky isn't the word, and fortunate to be able to see them isn't the word.
No, honestly, mate, because the word demon does come in a lot when you discuss aliens, because there's a lot of people that are confused whether it's aliens or demons, and I don't think anybody really knows.
No,
because if
the same thing, demons by virtue would be alien to us.
Exactly,
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah. And I'm going to play, because we are doing a show in 2 weeks where we have Avery on, and I'll play the intro tonight on the way out, because that is very, very much. This show is going to be on aliens and demons, so that's going to be a Rockfin exclusive. Like, you don't have to become a member of Rockfin or anything like that. It's going to be free. I do apologize. Last night when we did the whole Russell Brand show, it went to premium for some reason, and I have no idea. We did not set that. I think. Well, we did. We fucked up. We hit the wrong button.
Did you see his thing that he put up tonight?
No, it came out.
He's made a statement. Yeah, he's made a statement. It's only like 3.5 minutes long or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it here.
Yeah, he basically. It's so.
His channel.
You can. Oh man, he's lost weight in his face, and you can see the.
I'm not surprised.
Like a look of pleading.
We'll watch it
like
after the show. We'll watch it together after the show. Yeah, like, I'm going to hang about for a bit if anybody's about. Yeah. So Nick, we'll start with you, my lad.
Yes.
You've got the Cosmic Twilight.
Yes.
Is the name of the channel. It is in the description. You're going to be hitting the Nazi UFO stuff. You're going to be hitting what's the name?
Everything, Nancy.
The little balls.
Oh, you're Foo
Careful of your
Fighters
wording.
Yeah. So just to keep everyone updated, basically, I'm going to go through A to Z, break everything down with the Nazi flying saucers. I'm going to get all my books, all the information. I'm going to do a series in chronological order, so you get to understand the subject a bit better. So I am in the process of making it, and it give me a week or two, and I'll put the first episode up. So it'll be coming up. But this book here is a very controversial book, but this came out in 1975, and it all begins with kind of this. But in due time, the video will come out. So yeah, that's it for
Beautiful.
me.
I look forward to it. That's
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
definitely do, man. We do.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Cheers, man.
Nick, I can't stress enough for this man that you guys in the chat, anybody that's watching after, go check him out. He's got a lot to give, and I've seen, like, if you look at some of the stuff that he's looking into now, and the videos that are going to come out, it's going to be interesting. If you look back at our history and you look back at the World War II, and you look at this subject of UFOs, it is so linked in with that. It's unreal. So this man's channel is going to be quite unique. It's going to be something different for this field. Everybody says that everybody is speaking off the same page when it comes to people want something new because it's getting boring. I tell you now, this is not going to be boring. This is something absolutely brand new. Go check his link out. It is in the description. The channel is not, you'll go on there and you'll go, this guy's a gardener. Yes, he is. And he also knows fucking Graham Hancock.
Yeah, he does.
And he's going to get him on the channel. But yeah, Nick's channel is going to completely change. So go hit that like, hit that bell, and you'll get ready for it because there is about 6 videos coming very soon, Nick.
It's going to be a 15-part series, but we're going to make it short and simple to the point. So I'm going to try and stretch it out. I'm not trying to make it too boring.
That's
but
what I need.
A very detailed look into a subject that a lot
Short,
of people
simple,
don't really look into,
and to the point.
Yeah,
like my relationships.
Thanks for the shout out, mate.
Mr. Ian, have you got a channel? Do you actually have a channel?
I do have a channel. My channel is actually called Oh No, It's Buggered Now. But obviously that's not really a good...
that's a fucking amazing name.
If you look for Mysterion, I do come up as Mysterion, yeah. But I'm also Mysterion on
Well, Nick,
GitHub,
send me the link. I'll add it to the
Twitter, Twitter, Rumble, Pill.net. I've got a Pill.net channel we've just done.
And if anybody wants
a Rumble channel,
if anybody needs a voiceover, you do voiceovers. If anybody just wants to Mr. Ian speak to your wife.
Well, I have my own
children.
I have my own in-house artificial intelligence that I've written myself. It's somewhat of an orchestra of separate artificial intelligences on different machines with an overarching controller, and which I've got speech to text, so I can use it like Jarvis. Really, I can talk to it and ask it to do stuff, and I can make video, music, text to video, text to music, art, face swap, deep fakes, the whole
nipples, anything.
So that keyboard's seen some days in front of you,
and it's totally and it's totally unfiltered, so I don't get those annoying NSFW image detected. We're going to get rid of that. So I literally I
those
can
make
make
me
my own,
feel naughty.
I can make my own porn. I can make, it's just brilliant. It's great. I do OnlyFans, a couple of OnlyFans pages for a couple of lasses. And I'm doing for Bray as well.
I'm like, mate,
no. They're AI. They're AI images. Right. They look real. You wouldn't know them you wouldn't know that they were.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Real. Yeah. So you're not getting your nipples out. Okay.
No, God, no.
Right.
Well, so you're responsible for this.
Right. So if anybody wants an OnlyFans, Tyler Glockner.
Oh, there you go.
I did a photo shoot. I did a photo shoot for a friend of mine in Australia, a lovely girl, Morgan, tumbling red hair, and I took 2 photographs of her and produced a photo shoot of her on a white horse riding through a forest, and it looks beautiful, photo shoot. And she's never had to get changed or get on a horse. It's amazing,
magnificent. Mm-hmm. Boys, your channel, it's been out for what? How long now?
It's about 7 weeks, 7-8 weeks.
And
I think this will be 7.
No, I think 8. This will be episode 8, which which would
I've seen you before on other channels. What have you done before? I recognize both of you.
Well, I mean, we have our channel.
Ice Cream's a
material.
complete bitch. He's a UFO bitch. He loves hiring himself out there.
I like to go talk and get some opinions out there, of course, man. I mean, you got to think about it this way, Ali. You know, and this is, I guess,
you're like me, mate. You're like me. You're just interested.
Well, I guess to bring everything full circle from the opening questions, you know, why did we start the channel? It's because I'm going to be honest with you, man. If we're approaching the end and we really don't get anything, I don't want to walk away from this knowing that I didn't say anything.
Rewind there. Rewind. I can't end it on that. If you said we're approaching the end.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like if disclosure is not coming, you know what I mean? If it really isn't, if everything's going to get buried again and the topic is going to crash out like some people think, and I think there's a possibility for, if I'm going to be open with it, I want to know that I at least put, you know, a couple views out there of my opinion, man. I don't want to walk away and think, you know, I didn't get to say anything, and you know, you don't want to have any regret when it comes to the topic. But yeah, no, our channel, we do Saturdays 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now this weekend though, so this Saturday as well as next Saturday, French is gonna Steve French here, Steven Johnson. He's the co-host.
The last names.
It's you got it right on there on your thing there.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I figured out you put it on there. But he's got a rock show to go to, so we're actually moving it to Sunday, our show this weekend, and then next weekend, next Saturday, I have a wedding I got to go to. So it's going to be the next 2 weekends in a row will be Sunday. However, we will post the thumbnail and you'll know, and I'll put it on Twitter, and so we'll make sure everyone's informed. But I figured when we had the chance, might as well throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, we talk mainly UFOs. If you know, at the end, if we want to sprinkle a little gaming or some MMA in, it's not a mainstay of the channel or a main topic at all, but we do touch on it slightly.
So that's 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, that's midnight UK.
And then just a little teaser. Sunday, the topic is going to be, we're going to talk about whether or not AI could bring disclosure, which I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
I steal that.
Interesting. When you run,
now he goes, whoa.
when you run an AI on a computer, you are invoking a software demon, DAEMON, a software demon, which is a process that you summon forth to solve a task and then dismiss. But it's still a software demon.
Interesting.
As an AI.
Mr. Ian, what is that behind your shoulder? On this side, this there. Yeah, no. Back. There. It looks like a really evil vagina. Like, what is that?
Oh my God, that.
Oh, okay.
So not a vagina, but
giant donuts.
It's best
giant donuts. Still put them in your mouth. Oh.
So terrestrial material. It's in the description, people. It's Saturdays, mainly Saturdays.
You leave my giant vagina alone.
It's always going to be Saturdays for a while. It's just that, you know, life has hit us this weekend and next weekend, but it's Saturdays, man. That's the main time.
I actually decided to have a life for once.
I got stuff to go do.
Boys, Saturday's a good day for us. You know,
it's for the boys.
If you fancy some ginger guests, I'm there.
Hey, you're already on the docket, my friend. Trust me.
I figure I'm about an hour and a quarter's drive away from you, something like that, aren't I, Ollie?
What, from these guys?
No, from you.
I was gonna say, do you have the tic-tac?
It's a fair paddle to get across the lake.
I thought about it, but I was like, no.
Do you want to be here?
I could come and visit. Yeah, we could do that.
We could go to the pub. We could do a live show from the pub.
From
Absolutely.
the pub. Nice.
I'm coming.
Pint of Guinness. Yeah, I'm up for that.
I'm coming to yours. Want to borrow one of those donuts?
Well, if you bring your kids, I'm in Southport, aren't I? Come bring your kids and do the fairground and stuff.
I will not bring my children to anything involved in ufology. Those little they can stay here. I'm getting drunk.
Right.
No, but Ollie,
you're
thank
more
you
than welcome,
guys.
Ollie.
Nick, you guys have been awesome to have us come on here, man. It's really meant a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We did figure out our OBS situation with getting guests on now. So yeah, I mean the guests are going to start coming. Yeah. So you're obviously on the very short list.
Are you using OBS?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Being able to do your compositions before you feed it up to StreamYard or whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like the versatility of it. It really gives you the control of everything that you want. Yeah.
Are you paying for it, or are you just using
that's the thing. Yeah, we just got Ultra, so now we can actually bring in guests through the collab cam. Which we haven't been able to do. And so I think a couple of people, I think Rich has probably been wondering why it's 7-8 weeks. They haven't brought me on. It's like, well, we had to figure this out. We're going to.
Are you using it with an RTX card?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, we both do.
Yeah, that brings it into its full. You see, you get all the bonus NVIDIA broadcast bits,
the
background removal and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely everything.
Very
scene
nice.
Transition, everything controlled.
Yes,
we enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I like the scene transition is brilliant because you can set everything up pre-show and then just switch between clips and shorts and it's brilliant. Great. Very, very good.
So Sunday, people, I think Lee's gonna tackle those little Mexican aliens again. I think that's gonna be the show. So look forward to that, people.
Paper mache. Yay.
Well, with every bit of paper mache, there's that one.
They're fertility idols. Come on, they're fertility idols. They've got rocks in their tummies, eggs.
There's something good in that. There's something interesting to that bloody story, though. It's sexy. And on that note, I'm going to say good night. God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Check the links out in the description below, and I'm going to play this sexy babes. That's the wrong word to use, considering she's going to be a guest, but she knows she's good looking. That's fine. But she's a great content creator, and her rock fin is phenomenal. People, go check it out. She has started doing YouTube. She's going to be on in the next couple of weeks, and I'll give you a little snippet of the intro that I made for the rock fin for the way out. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Good night.
So the abductions usually always happen at night. These people don't really get abducted during the day. Usually a UFO appears and then the abductee blacks out. Okay, they then become paralyzed. A beam comes down and they begin to levitate up into the ship. They can even be transported through like solid objects, like walls. And then the aliens will sometimes appear out of thin air. Okay. The abductees are then experimented on with like these primitive surgical tools, which I find very odd if they have such advanced technology. But the entities, when they're captured, they usually tell the abductee that their intentions are really good. Abductees have even mentioned that they say that they created humans, that they are the creator of Earth. Some have even disguised themselves as Jesus. Celebrities, well-known figures, family members, and they do this to gain the trust of the abductee. And in this regard, if what they are saying is true, you have to ask yourself why. Why do they need to conduct themselves in this way?
make sure you check that show after this one. Good night.